Hello guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. My name is Kaiser and I'm a C1 controller at India VATSIM ATC. In today's video we are going to learn the basics of procedural, why we do it, what is the purpose, and we are even going to do an overhead approach at Bhopal for the ILS runway 30. So let's start. First let's understand what is procedural, why we do it. So basically there are two radars, different types. One is known as a primary surveillance radar. In that, the radar emits a pulse which hits the aircraft and bounces back. And another one is a secondary surveillance radar. In that, it hits the aircraft. The aircraft even has a transponder which sends back information such as the height, the ground speed, the call sign, and even the squawk code, all of that. So, as you can see out here, this is what it looks like on a secondary surveillance radar. You get the call sign here, that's the aircraft type, the altitude, and the ground speed. And if it's a secondary surveillance radar, you will just see this white blip, that's all, nothing else. This is how it works. Here you can see the radar is emitting a pulse, it's hitting on the aircraft, bouncing back, and the radar receives. So there are no radar vectors that can be provided. A common mistake that people do at procedural airports is they ask the ATC for vectors. He cannot give you vectors because he cannot see a lot of information regarding your aircraft. So do not ask the ATC for radar vectors. So we're gonna look at how to the different types of approaches. You get one approach, which is the arc. As can be seen here, you intercept the arc on one of these radials and you have to proceed on the arc to establish. But we'll save that for another video. As today we are going to do an overhead approach. So an overhead approach, you come directly overhead the VOR of the airport you're landing at mostly. You go on the opposite track of the runway you're landing on. So out here it's 118, we'll be landing on a track cost of 298, but we'll be going 118. We'll turn outwards like this and then we'll turn back in and we'll establish on the ILS. Now, one main important thing is you should know how to do a hold on these airports. So the ATC might tell you hold over Bravo Papa Lima, which is where we're landing today, Bravo Papa Lima as established. So you need to go into your FMC. Right now we don't have Bravo Papa Lima because we've not inserted it. So I'll show you that later actually. So let's first show how we insert the arrival. So you go to the arrival, you choose the runway. We know runway 30 is in use today. And then you have to go to the wire page. So for an overhead approach, you will just have to find the VOR identifier, which is Bravo Papa Lima, and simply just click on it, and that's it. Now if you go on your plan page in the Airbus or the Boeing, you will find Bravo Papa Lima and you'll see that the approach has already been set up, although you must check to see that it's matching the charts. Otherwise you might have to do it manually with heading mode, which I will do today because the aircraft has not properly set up the overhead approach over here. I'll also be making another video with a 737 doing the arc approach. And yeah, so right now we're descending. Now let us try and understand the phraseology for these kind of approaches. So today we are doing a scenario where the upper controller is not online, it's only the tower controller. Now remember one thing, the tower controller, his airspace is till flight level 140 or maybe even a little bit more than that depending on the aerodrome. It's not like other towers where you establish on the ILS and then you give a call. So be alert, he might contact you at flight level 170. So when you contact him, you're going to say descending past whatever level you're at, say flight level 170 on the radial, whatever radial you're on. So radial, basically you take your heading. So right now let's say we're on 068 and you add or subtract 180 to it, because that's what the radial is. It's the direction from the station, from the VOR. So say we're on 068, our radial will be 248. That's how it works. So we'll say in Bhopal Tower, I fly blah blah blah, descending past flight level 220 on radial 068. That's how it works. And then he will say, okay, now let's just follow this. So let's suppose we are in Air India 1 and we are landing at Calicut. So he'll say Air India 1 cleared to Calicut for the ILS Zulu approach, runway 28, via overhead Charlie Lima Charlie, which is the VOR identifier at Calicut. Descend in coordination with Cochin. Now he will not say that if this is for the upper controller. If he's not there, he's just going to give you the descent directly. And then after that, he might tell us reaching Charlie Lima Charlie, hold as published. So that means we'll have to follow the charts and hold as it's given. Then he'll tell us to descend and hold if we need to. That's the phraseology here. And then after that, once he's ready to send us for the ILS, he'll say India 1 cleared to proceed outbound radial 090 Charlie Lima Charlie. Cleared for the ILS Zulu approach, runway 28, report turning inbound or report on the localizer. So that means when he tells us to go outbound, he might even just say proceed outbound. So he might say proceed outbound Bravo Lima. So that means we go on this course here, 118. We'll go on the course of 118 in our scenario today. Now back to the holds. It's very important to know how to do a hold. So there's two ways. Now we have a database out here, so that will automatically set it up, but however right now it's not correct. So you can see the inbound course is 133, but on the charts it's 114. So we'll set it to 114. It's going to be a right turn, so that's how we set it up. You just have to click insert and insert it out here. For the Airbus A320 at least. That's how we do it. In the next video I will show how to do it in the 737. Now the main, also another big important aspect, what to do if we have to go around. So that's also given on the charts. Here it is. Go around procedure, climb straight 3800, then right turn to join the hold at Bravo Papa Lima at 3800 feet. Or the ATC might give you another instruction is to leave on a different radial and then come back inbound, or he might just tell you to turn left. You never know. But otherwise, if he just says to follow the missed approach procedure, climb 3800 on the runway course, which is 298. Later on you turn right and you come back and hold over the VOR as we discussed earlier. So right now we're descending, and one more important thing is that you should always maintain a maximum speed of 200 to 210 knots. Out here it's given a speed of 220 knots according to the charts. That's a restriction there. This helps you make the turns at a greater angle of bank, which is required, because you can see these turns are quite sharp out here, guys, on the arc. And even if you're doing the overhead approach, it's always good to maintain a lower speed of around 180 to 200 knots. You can reduce it later on, but do not go faster than that. Okay, now we are approaching flight level 170. We are gonna contact Bhopal Tower, who's online. So let's make our first contact. So first we need to tell him our radial. We need to make sure we know our radial. Our radial is on 066, so that will be a 180 minus or plus, so that will be about 246. So we'll tell him passing flight level 160 on radial 246. Bhopal Tower, hello, I fly 475, descending past flight level 160 on radial 246, Bravo Papa Lima. We need to also mention the...
I fly 475, Bhopal Tower, Namaskar, descend to flight level 100.
Down to flight level 100, I fly 475.
I fly 475 clear to Bhopal for ILS approach runway 30 via overhead Bravo Papa Lima.
iFly 4005 clear to Bhopal for ILS approach runway 30 via overhead Bravo Papa Lima.
Flight 305 descend to 3800 feet, QNH 1001, transition level flight level 65.
Descend to 3800 feet, QNH 1001, transition level flight level 65 for iFly 4005. So now we can descend to 3800 is cleared us for that altitude, that's platform altitude.
After 475, report overhead Bravo Papa Lima.
We'll report overhead Bravo Papa Lima, iFly 475. And now we can take a look at what we're gonna do. So when we're about 2 miles, we're gonna report overhead. He'll most likely clear us to go on the outbound, which is on a course of 118, so our plane will usually do that in the A320, although from what I've experienced at Bhopal in my simulator with the Explain 12, but told us it's not setting it up properly for Bhopal, so I will manually set the heading node. We'll go on a course of 118 till about 6.6 miles. Then we'll take a right turn heading 163, and we'll loop ourselves back in at a heading of 343, and we'll intercept the localizer with our final approach course of 298. So, and also we need to make sure we maintain the speed limits 220 knots, although that's mainly for the procedural turn out here. But yeah, we're gonna make sure we are 200 knots or less overhead. Alright, now we are approaching Bravo Papa Lima. We've put our flaps to 1. We can see that we're 3 miles out, almost 3 miles out. Our speed is 200 knots, so that will help give us a good radius of turn. And now we'll prepare that turn, which according to the charts is 118 degrees outbound. 118. So we'll give a call now to the tower controller that we are overhead. We're 2 miles out, so we'll report. Bhopal Tower, overhead Bravo Papa Lima, iFly 475.
475, clear to proceed outbound Bravo Papa Lima, clear ILS approach runway 30, report established.
Clear to proceed outbound for Bravo Papa Lima, and will report established ILS runway 30, iFly 475. And as you can see now, we are turning outbound for that 118 radial. We might have turned a little bit early here. We should have turned about now, but it's alright. Oh, in fact, it might have been a perfect turn. Yep. As you can see, we are right above the airport. This is the runway, and that's where we are. There we are. So now, the next step is to check when we are 6.6 miles out, and we'll turn right heading to 163. So that's gonna be about here where this fixes. So just a mile to go. We are supposed to turn outbound on 163, so let's prepare that. Oh wait, no, we can't prepare that because we're in heading mode. So as soon as it says 6.5, we'll start changing the heading knob to 163. Alright, let's do it. 163. Now we're gonna turn right heading 163, and we can further reduce our speed to 180 knots. So we can see on our planned route out here, the turn starts after this fixed Foxtrot India 30, so we can ourselves decide to turn left inwards on a heading of 343 once we are beamed at. So it's given out here, and we'll slowly start our turn to 343 any minute now. And now we can start a turn to 343. And we can go ahead and press the approach button since we've been cleared for the ILS on runway 30. You can see here on our explain map now that we came here. Overhead the VOR, we turned right on a heading of 118. We came outwards and we are taking the turn back in now on a heading of 343. It's gonna turn 343 now. And that's exactly how it's given on the charts. Really simple, guys. And now we've established on the localizer for the runway 30, and we're gonna maintain a speed of 180 knots till 8 miles, and then a speed of 160 knots till 6 miles. That's what we generally follow here in India. And yeah, everything else is the same now as a normal approach in a normal airport where they have a secondary surveillance radar. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I've covered the basics, I covered the overhead. We'll make another videos now with doing the arc with the upper controller and in a 737, so maybe you'll learn how to do it in a different aircraft, not only the Airbus. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions, just post it down in the comments. Please like, subscribe to the video, to the channel. And now I'll be completing this landing in Bhopal if you all wanna just hang around and watch it. And thank you very much for watching, guys. Bhopal Tower established on the ILS runway 30.
Alpha 475, wind 290 degrees 07 knots, runway 30, clear to land.
Runway 30, clear to land. I fly 475. Okay, it might have been better to tell him that when we were established on the localizer. Actually, it depends on what he tells us to say. If he tells us to report on the localizer, we'll report on the localizer. I think he told us for the ILS, so I reported on the ILS. Now let's go to our minimum approach speed. That's 136 knots. Managed mode. And let's drop our flaps to full. One more thing you want to make sure you do is you set the roll and altitude on your MCP, on your you have to climb to that altitude. This does not only apply to procedural, it applies to any approach that you carry out in the world. You always want to set your MCP to the miss approach altitude in any plane. Alright, my plane. Let's land this. So if you're flying in the... Oops, I'm going too shallow. That's not good. And there we have it. If you are landing in the event on Sunday at Bhopal, may expect a little bit bad weather. Maybe worse weather, who knows. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Like I said, any questions, just feel free to post in the comments. I'll try and answer all of them. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let's thank the Bhopal controller because I'm gonna disconnect now. Bhopal Tower, I fly 475. We're gonna disconnect from here. Thank you very much for your service. Good day.
475, thanks for flying. Good day.
And that's it. Bye. See you.